So yesterday we cooked chicken leg quarters that we had for our lunch. You saw that yesterday. And I put the chicken leg quarters in the pan and said, oh, well, if you want to see how I did this, go look at my chicken stock recipe. I don't have a chicken stock recipe. Sorry about that. I did turkey broth one time. So it's very similar to that, but I will tell you what I did for this. So I took the chicken leg quarters that we had cooked. The only thing on them was salt and pepper because of the low cost week. Sometimes I would put other things on, but I'm going to explain how I did it yesterday. Chicken leg quarters had salt and pepper. They cooked the full amount of time. I pulled them out and pulled all the meat off of them. I put all of the meat, skin, bones, fat, all those pieces back into the crock pot with the drippings that had been from the chicken. It's a crock pot, it's a roaster. That had been with the chicken, the drippings that were in there. And I added water to close to the top. I added the carrot ends and the ends of a celery stalk and an entire onion into the pan. There's lots of other things you can add, other things that I add when we're not doing low spend, but that was all that got added to this pot. So that cooked for 24 hours at, I think, 325. I love my countertop roaster because I don't have to use my oven to cook things. This costs a lot less money to do it this way, and it makes really, really great broth. I also like it because at Thanksgiving time, you can cook a turkey in it and keep your oven available for the pies and all the other stuff you want to make for Thanksgiving. So we will be using this broth to make soup over the next several days. If you're new to this challenge, we're doing a 7-day challenge, $75. And yesterday, we did not have soup, but the rest 6 days of the week, we are going to have soup. So later on tonight, you will see that I'm going to make some homemade noodles. We will also use this same soup recipe to make variations of chicken soup for the rest of the week. So just to answer some questions for people who are new to the channel. I am a stay-at-home mom. We have the 7 kids at home, and currently 4 of them are homeschooling through the state of Maine. I'm following all the regulations the state of Maine has, and because of the ages, there's only 4 currently enrolled through the school system, but that means that I have 3 littles that are sitting around when we do our schoolwork. So you saw the mess of that on the table earlier. They are home with me all the time, including the almost 17-year-old. She went out to do her driver's ed last year, but other than that, she doesn't do any classes outside the house or anything. We have friends that do, just we don't have anyone currently doing that. So everyone is home for every breakfast, lunch, supper, and snack. Oh, I forgot to mention my husband. My husband is home all the time with a neurological condition, kind of like seizures, but not. And we actually have an appointment next week, 2 weeks from now, to try to figure out a new diagnosis for that, to see a new doctor. But that definitely is a change from most people in that I have a husband who's here eating our meals with us. I don't pack lunches for him. I don't have to prepare that in any way. So a little bit about our family. We are Christians, and that is why we do most of what we do. We read the Bible and try to obey it as we can. We try not to make excuses for what our society looks like to decide what we should obey in the Bible or not. If we read something in the Bible, we try to obey it. So, why we homeschool, why we run our family the way we do, all of that is based on our reading of the scriptures. It's something that we have to reevaluate regularly to make sure that we are doing all of that. We're just grabbing another bowl. Still have a lot of chicken broth and no more room. So we regularly reevaluate the shows we're watching pleasing to God. Is the music we're listening to pleasing to God? The books we're reading. And then even the why behind what we're doing. Are we teaching our kids so that we can get them into Harvard? Or are we teaching our kids so that we can give them a good basis of who God is and what the Bible teaches? We have a little one coming out of the room. When I do these videos, the kids are usually in another room doing schoolwork or playing games or whatever. Today they're watching Torchlighters, which is a cartoon video series about some heroes of the faith. Usually, most of them are about people who were martyred for their faith. The one they're watching right now is William Booth, who has an interesting story about starting the Salvation Army. But anyway, back to why we do what we do. We try to make sure everything we're doing in life is to glorify God. And the reason that I try to save the money in the way that we do is so that we can use our money in ways that will help other people, will help advance His kingdom. And if I can save money for our family by taking time to make the chicken stock, taking time to make the bread, and that gives us resources to be able to help other people and to be able to get the gospel out, then we'll do that. We as a family go out handing out tracts and doing open air ministry. So that involves travel sometimes, that involves buying the tracts and things like that. So that is why I'm about saving money. Also, because my husband has been out of work now for 2.5 years, the money coming into the household is very limited. So I only have so much to work with. When my husband and I first got married, we started having these issues. And the doctors didn't know what was wrong. And we were living on very, very little money, which was very different from how I grew up. Mark, can I have you for a second to just lift up one side so I can get the rest of the breath? So Mark has spent different years being out of work. Probably about half of our married life now has not been employed. And so
3.5 years in full-time ministry.
Yep, 3.5 years in full-time ministry. So definitely God has used these different challenges in our lives to teach us different things. And one of the things He's taught us is that we don't need to live by what people would consider the American dream of the big house and the brand new cars and all of that. This house that we're living in was my mom and dad's house. And when my dad passed away, my mom decided it was too big and asked us to come live here. We lived with her for a little over 3 years before she decided to make herself a small house in the backyard. So she had a little more space, and we worked together taking care of the houses. Mark does a lot of the handyman work, and, well, not a lot of the handyman work. Mark does some of the handyman work.
When things I can still do.
Think through what needs to be done. And I make most of the meals. My mom comes over to have dinner with us most nights. So it's very much a symbiotic relationship. And we love having Grandma so close. And we have a 15-passenger van that we bought used from somebody here local in the area. We don't have the latest, greatest clothes or any of that, but we have exactly what we need because God has provided for us. So I hope these videos are a benefit to all of you guys who are watching. For whatever reason it is that you're trying to save money for your family, I hope that you can get some tips from here. And please leave tips in the comments of this video or on Facebook for us. That's all I do for the broth. I'm going to throw out these pieces. And now this will be used for soup over the next 6 days as we make a meal every day of soup. So, hope you enjoyed that. If you have more questions you'd like me to answer in one of these videos, please leave that in the comments also. So, see you at supper time.